Okay, deep breaths. I've analyzed every metric, every contingency. The project plan is flawless. The team is performing optimally. So why this persistent feeling, this friction? I've pushed harder, thought deeper, refined every detail. I've always found the solution by doing more, being more precise. But this time, it feels like I'm missing something fundamental. What is it? What am I overlooking?
I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. It's funny how you can just go through the motions, building a life, without really stopping to ask yourself, who am I becoming? I always thought my work would define me, tell me who I was. And maybe it should, right? But something feels off. It's like I'm seeing things clearly for the first time.
You believe your worth is tied to what you do, to what you achieve. But that's not true. You were called before you performed. Your identity isn't based on your accomplishments. It's inherent. It simply is.
Let's start by calling a cat a cat. A lot of high-achieving women are not struggling because they lack discipline. We see that. They are struggling because they lack clarity of their identity, and more specifically, they've never been taught the difference between what they do and who they are. So they finding jobs where that job becomes their identity. And that's where the crisis begins. And if that is already resonating with you, don't try to fix it immediately. Just stay with it. Because the clarity doesn't come from trying to fix things right from the get-go immediately. It actually comes from learning how to discern. And later in this video, I'll actually show you what that looks like. Usually they look like they have everything put together, right? Well put together. Everything works. But internally, you see the patterns. Restlessness, even after the success. They are not at peace with whatever success they may have. A second guessing all the time. A quiet anxiety about what's next. A difficulty making decisions. A sense that something is missing, but there's no language for it. And the mistake is this: they often assume that the problem is lack of clarity into the career, a lack of discipline, or a lack of strategy. Most of the time, the issue runs deeper. It is the identity being built on the wrong foundation. We need to separate two words that are constantly confused: a job and a vocation. A job is what you do. It's your responsibilities, your tasks, your outputs. A vocation comes from the word vocare in Latin, which means to call. It's a calling. So it's you in relationship with God. It's who you are in relationship with God. It's not what you produce. Most women, they were never taught that. So unconsciously, they would replace their vocation with their careers. So the structure becomes the career, which produces the identity, which creates the worth of most of us. That creates more anxiety, more pressure, and an over-identification with your performance in your career. Because if your job defines you, every change becomes a threat to your identity. When we think about vocation, we think about the yes of Mary. Mary was literally created to be able to bring the living God among us. His name is Jesus. That is a vocation. That's what she said yes. That's why she was at peace. A job can change, a vocation cannot. A job is going to be given by a company. You get through interviews, they like you like them, everybody is good, they send you a contract, you sign it, hurrah, félicitations, you did it. Props to you. When a vocation is entrusted by God, it cannot be taken away. So when your identity is built in something that can be taken away, such as a job, and especially today, you will always live a low-level instability. There is a priest that once asked a group of students if any of them had a vocation in the room. Nobody raised their hands, not even one. Why? Because they thought vocation meant either becoming a priest or becoming a nun. So it was for special people. not for them. And that's what you see in the society nowadays, because there's a crisis of vocation. People don't even know they do have a vocation. They never been taught that they could have a vocation beyond those two options. So a lot of them are gonna feel lost. So in the Catholic teaching, vocation is not only one thing. You get 3 levels. The first level is gonna be the universal vocation, which starts through baptism. It starts with baptism. So you get from being a creature of God to being a child of God. So it's pretty much universal to anybody getting through that process. Because of your baptism, you're called to holiness, not visibility, not success, union with God, perfect union with God. And that's how you see people being called to be saints, so becoming the saints, because they already had that grace to start off and they build onto that to get to be more holy. The second level is going to be you being called to be married, being called to be a priest, being called to live a consecrated single life, or to be called to live a religious life. The consecrated life would be in any type of way lay people making the vow to be single, to be celibate. If you're experiencing same-sex attraction, that's going to become your cross to have for the rest of your life. You're going to have a celibate life. The second level is going to be the structure of your life. Then you get to the third level. This is your personal vocation. It's going to be how you love, how you serve, and the specific mission that God has entrusted in you. It's pretty unique. It's unique to you. Mary had that specific mission to bring Jesus among us. That was a unique mission. She was the only one who did that. And it's going to be discovered through discernment, not planning. And that's where a lot of people misconfuse or misunderstand what we call vocation. So when you think about high-achieving women, they are great at planning. It's their skills, competence, they excel at it. The 5-year plans, the strategic decisions, the optimized outcomes. But to learn more about your vocation or to find a vocation, it's not through getting the control. It's through discernment, it's through letting go. I think about and always talk about the yes of Mary. So you have to let it go. You have to be able to receive, not take control of it. So when the planning says, I will plan it, I will strategize it, I will have any specific way of planning me being successful, me making 5 millions. The discernment way says, I will receive it. I will be open to it. I will ask for the grace to be able to discern it properly, to see where I'm going, where I'm leading with everything that is going around me. And by doing it, you're starting to open your eyes more because God is giving you that grace. And high-achieving woman, that's where it is, that little issue, and just control. Being control freaks. I'm a control freak, so I know what I'm talking about when I'm saying it. If you realize that you've been building your life onto strategizing everything, getting more into planning your life than actually discerning your life, you don't need another strategy. You actually need to find a way to discern your life with God. This is exactly why I created the rosary-based discernment rhythm that I use with the woman that I work with, because it's going to teach you how to slow down, hear clearly, and stop making decisions from pressure. And I left all the details in the description box below. Entrust your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The word entrust here means rolling your plans onto God, not to abandon the responsibility of it, but to release the control. Because when you've been betrayed, you've been wounded, you've been hurt, that control makes you feel safe. But it's going to give you more anxiety than anything else because you don't have the shoulders to carry all of that. That's why we need God. That's why God is going to work with you. That's why Jesus is going to be working with you. When you surrender your plans onto God, you're going to feel such a peace. And that's why you start feeling and seeing the movements into your spirit. The pressure and anxiety versus the peace. So if you don't know your vocation, you will always try to extract the identity from performance. So it will never be enough. You're always going to be constantly running and running to get more and more of something that you don't even know that you want, because the performance were never meant to carry your identity that way. But when you start discerning your vocation, something shifts. You're no longer trying to become someone, and that changes how you work, how you move, or how you choose. And here's the real question. If your job were to disappear tomorrow, let's say overnight, would you still know who you are? Or would everything collapse with it? You don't have a productivity problem. You don't even have a clarity problem. You may have a discernment problem. And that is a good news, because that can be learned. And if that question stayed with you, don't ignore it, because it's sometimes where God starts to do the work and starts speaking more clearly. And if you want help walking through that, there's a place below where you can start. You want to learn more about just what we call Catholic confidence and all the paths between the history, your identity, the confidence, the mission that God has entrusted into you. You are free to watch the rest of my videos here on this channel, and I'm gonna see you for my next videos. Keep smiling, because it's free and contagious in a good way.